The recording has started. You can introduce us.
Okay, so we're just gonna run through the introduction so that everybody knows who's talking without having to constantly check back to see who's talking. I am Otaku Imi.
I'm a random Hanako Cafe. You guys know me as whatever, but yeah.
I'm Tiara, or Miko's hot right lung.
Yes, that's what everyone is building up to Miko.
So anyways, this is how it's going to go. The speakers that you're hearing right now, everyone that just introduced, we're going to be the ones on the stage essentially talking about it. If you want to comment, you can either raise your hand and speak in the podcast. We'll give you a speaking role. Or you can just comment in the comment section. I'm going to be watching it and trying to keep up with it. If you do talk, please be aware recording this and we will be putting it on YouTube. So if you don't want your voice out there on YouTube, then probably best to just stick to the chat.
Yes, if you have an anime double life with friends who know that you're popular and you don't want them knowing that you watch anime.
I feel like that does happen on this server.
Yes.
I have no secret life because this is just my life.
Alright, so I guess we can get into the predictions.
Okay, so predictions. I predicted that Teru and Akane were going to be bursting onto the scene. I will admit that I was like 80% joking when I made that prediction, but I'm still happy that I was kind of right.
I didn't make any predictions this time around, but I pretty much been saying that they're going to change the perspectives for a while, so it's good that that happened.
Yeah,
We got to see.
Yeah, my prediction, I was hoping for a Yashiro POV, but I knew it was also pretty realistic that we would get an Akane Teru one. Those were my two predictions. I was just hoping for Yashiro.
Yeah, we can hope for Yashiro all you want.
Yeah.
I think I'll just miss Nene at this point. It's been a long time.
You think
We
you
all
miss
Hanako, but we've gotten used to it. Really
So
so
hard
used to it? I'm
much time.
dying. Used to it. My favorite character is not around. I'm literally dying. I'm tired.
He'll come back eventually, probably,
Eventually.
maybe.
Exactly.
Maybe.
It's been 8.
There's also
Yeah, go ahead.
in not so much a prediction, but most of us, in terms of theorizing, we're going with the idea that the Tsukasa that we know is a double, not the original, but kind of a clone, and that was confirmed this chapter, more or less. So that's kind of cool. We'll probably talk about it a bit more once we actually get to that point.
Yeah.
In the chapter.
So what happened this chapter? We got to see Teru, more of Teru.
Wait.
Huh?
Summarize the last one first.
Okay. So in the last chapter, what happened? So a lot happened. What am I saying? We got to see the Yugi's past. We pretty much been building up to this for forever, wondering when the hell wondering when the hell we're going to get to know what happened in their past. And we know that
ready.
Yeah, we weren't ready for that conversation, to be honest. We weren't ready for all the persons who were bashing Tsukasa and now have to hug him and say, you know what, Tsukasa, you're all right. I love you. This was a mistake. Right? So
Tsukasa is still a psychopath.
yeah, he's still.
Just because there's another one does not change the fact that Tsukasa is a psychopath.
He has been pretty creepy.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. He has been pretty creepy, even as a child.
Anyways.
But yeah,
so we
this
went
chapter.
over their backstory very briefly. Tsukasa, essentially, Amane was sick terminally. He was going to die. Tsukasa was like, I don't really want my brother to die, so he made a deal with some evil house demons. In exchange for his sacrifice, they would make his brother all better. And they followed through, so he sacrificed himself. He jumped into a hole, the hole vanished, and then he disappeared, apparently for 6 months. But the point is, actual Tsukasa, the one that jumped into that hole, he's gone. He's been in the house the whole time. He has never left the house. He's still there. He's with Ko now.
Yeah. So this chapter we see more of Teru, which Some persons may be happy for that. I am personally indifferent about that.
A Teru hater over here.
Oh yeah,
I know where you stand, Kathy.
we all know.
Yeah, it's
I
I've
really
never
like the
seen that
character
side
development,
about.
yeah. Yeah.
I've never seen that side of Teru before. It's kind of interesting, but
General opinion of Teru has always been that if this were a different series, he would be the protagonist.
yeah.
Yep. True.
Okay, so to go through the chapter, we see Teru. He thought that he could go and use his status to negotiate with these people who we now know are the head of the shrine, the the Mizaki shrine, yeah. And we learn about the system and the relationship between the exorcists and the shrine, the persons who run the shrine. So pretty much, they are the brokers. They act as the brokers for the shrine. Whenever there's a case where they can't handle, so this extremely powerful supernatural, they will be like, okay, you know what? You exorcists go handle this. We'll handle the small stuff, and we'll pay you for doing that. So they have this I need you, you need me relationship, which becomes
That's
more
the
prominent.
important thing, right? Because
Yeah.
the shrine pays the exorcists. They are their bosses, essentially.
Yeah. So when Teru was like, Teru thought that he could use his status negotiate, but when the guy found out that he was actually the host. He was actually got involved with the host. He brought up this whole thing that happened in the past, which essentially the mother. That's where we get into the whole situation with the Yugi twins and the mother. The mother realized that this Tsukasa wasn't the child that she knows, and we see this whole creepy looking panel there. That probably gave me nightmares, but yeah. And they wanted her. She was convinced that Tsukasa was possessed by some demon, whatever.
The
And they-
interesting thing to note is that the priest says as much, that he is not possessed. Like they did assess this child for possession and were like, no, this kid, he's not possessed. So people are latching on to that. They're going, okay, so this isn't a possessed version of Tsukasa. It's actually an entirely different being.
Yeah.
So people are leaning more towards the clone or copy theory versus the possession theory.
Which is good, because that's what we're pretty much been saying. We said that this cannot work out unless there are two Tsukasas, because the Tsukasa in the house, that's trapped in the house, is warm and clearly a human being. So that probably has their time stopped. So that's probably why they've been able to maintain their youth. But
the interesting thing about this fake Tsukasa is that he isn't strictly a supernatural, and I say that because he got murdered. You can't kill something that isn't alive, so to an extent, fake Tsukasa, even though he was kind of a supernatural if he's a clone, is also alive.
then again,
Well,
we
at
did
least he
see
was
we
at
did
the
see
time.
number 3 get yeeted by Tsukasa.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, supernaturals that aren't ghosts are kind of technically alive. In a way,
Yeah, exactly.
seems.
That's a whole conversation that
Yeah.
needs to be had, to be honest.
It's the difference between the supernaturals that are ghosts and the supernaturals that aren't, but that's a whole can of worms.
But yeah,
I
that
don't have the
Tsukasa-
power for it right now.
That Tsukasa isn't dead. It's just trapped in the house. To answer 99's question, it's just he's not dead. He's just trapped in the house, and his time is probably stopped. So, continuing with the chapter.
Let's pause for a sec, because Yui-chan has a good theory here. A changeling. The potential that Tsukasa is a changeling. I do know that story quite well, and you're right, it does kind of line up with what's going on here.
A changeling?
Changeling.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Oh, it's a human-like creature in folklore. You find it in lots of different religions, just kind of everywhere. But it's kind of like a fairy, and it steals the place of a human being. There's a few horror movies about it.
Oh,
Not good ones, but still horror movies.
that's interesting. And then we see
Pretty much.
Baby Sue with fangs. We don't see that.
Yep, that's exactly what I thought the first time I saw that. I was like, wait, he has fangs. Hold
Yeah.
on, that's the first time we're saying BBC with fangs.
Yeah.
It is something very intentional here. It's kind of hard because if you go back in the manga, Tsukasa himself isn't portrayed with fangs until the Hell of Mirrors arc. Uh,
He
but
is portrayed with fangs,
they're
but he's
definitely using it here to distinguish real baby Tsukasa from fake baby Tsukasa.
yeah.
Yep.
We have too many Tsukasas, guys.
But then we also okay, so to continue with the chapter, yeah, the kid's family died. He just granted this guy's wish. The guy didn't even tell him the wish. He just looked at him and said, "You know what? Yeah, you're fine. I'll grant your wish." And
His drawing on the floor that he was drawing into the ground kind of looks
Like
a
the
little
priest.
bit like the murdered priest.
yeah, exactly.
Okay,
that's
not
what I was
murdered.
thinking.
The dead priest.
Yeah, I've been looking at
Theoretically,
it.
it was an accident.
I've been looking at it lately, and I'm like, yeah, this. I've been trying to analyze what the hell it is because he can't draw, and
Yeah, he's a kid. I give him that.
he still can't draw, and he's like, he lived to be 13, and he still can't draw.
Well,
But yeah, he granted his wish, and the priest was an asshole, so they're pretty much just saying, okay, although he had these evil thoughts, he's not so bad. And the kid's family ended up dying as well, so we know that it's confirmed that the family suicide that happened before was actually the Yugi's family, because we didn't know, we just assumed, and it was actually right. So those who had those theories, congrats to you. That's good.
I guess it
Yeah.
wasn't that hard to guess.
my question, of course, now that we know that it's a double and a very dangerous double that is living with the family, my thought was, did this fake Tsukasa either directly or indirectly cause the parents' death? Like, did they really commit suicide, or were they killed? And if they were killed, is that why Hanako felt the need to kill Tsukasa? Because, like, even if he doesn't know that Tsukasa is a fake, if that Tsukasa is responsible for the deaths of his parents, he might have reached a point where he was like, whoa, my brother is dangerous. I need to do something about this.
Yeah. Wow, yeah, that's a theory that's been around from like before we even knew about
Exactly.
Tsukasa 2.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh,
The problem with the theory before was that there was nothing behind to back it, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now we've got
and now we know that
backstory.
it was actually some kind of possessed or second Tsukasa, which I don't think anyone would have guessed that. Well, the possession,
Definitely not.
yeah. The possession, yeah. But the whole double body Tsukasa thing, no. Oh, by the way, I don't think this was mentioned, but we're going to have a Q&A section, so this like later on. So if you have a question, we're going to bring you up, and you're allowed to speak. But moving on. Yeah, so they got a I kind of skipped over this accidentally, but they got a call. And I'm wondering if this call, although it looks very eerie, it's probably the kid speaking, because the priest said that, why are you cursed by that child, or something like that. And I'm wondering if that happened during the time when Ko was trying to call Minamoto or something. I'm still
Probably.
wondering
maybe
about
the
that.
Honestly,
Spiritual took over the phone or something.
Honestly, it doesn't really matter when it happened, regardless.
Mm.
Although it is nice to know that they got a call and that they know it's going on, because now we can be confident as to where they're going and what they're doing.
Oh, it looks
Did
like
wonder from the start, as soon as you remember this was forever ago, but when Ko and Nini first went into the Red House, one of my ideas was that Teru and Akane would show up at the house at some point,
yeah.
knowing what was going on.
I mean, can they really solve this situation by themselves? I don't see them getting out of this situation by themselves. They need someone powerful like Teru to help them out.
Yeah.
So it looks like the priest wasn't too happy about that. And yeah, he pretty much said that, okay, I'm going to tell your father will scold you, not me. And
That
then
was
we
kind
get
of cool, because I always kind of thought that the women in the Minamoto family were the ones in charge, because it's kind of implied that the girls are more powerful than the guys, and I thought maybe the dad was just not involved in the exorcist side.
Yeah,
but no, the dad is the head of the family.
That's so strange because I feel like in like the extra manga that we got with his dad, it seemed like he worked like a regular job because he had like a briefcase and everything.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah, they said dad is working, so I'm like, okay, so he isn't involved in this thing. And then they said that Tiara is powerful and then the grandma is powerful as well, so I just thought, but okay, oh well. And we see Teru. We start seeing different sides of Teru now. Like we don't see Teru lying on the ground acting like saying he just can't bother anymore. That's stuff that I do, right? That's not stuff that we expect Teru to do.
It was supposed to be relatable.
He's not supposed to.
I actually loved what they did with him in this chapter. How he's just on the ground like, oh, nothing is going my way right now.
He looks completely.
I get that, man.
He looks
I
completely
felt that.
stoned. He looks completely stoned. I'm sorry, I had to say that. He just looks
Oh, he was feeling it,
Yeah.
And yeah, so
While he's grumbling, he does mention that his little brother, frickin' way too much of a self-sacrificing person, Minamoto over there, talking to his brother about what he would do if he became a supernatural. So a little extra confirmation that is on Ko's mind, and it rang alarm bells in my head, and I want to give that boy a hug.
yeah, Teru. I've been saying it. Ko has been considering to become a supernatural, and I don't know how that would benefit him. He also wants to quit being an exorcist. So, based on what we've seen during the whole house confrontation, he wants to quit being an exorcist. And Teru's expression was hilarious. I'm sorry, he dropped the egg. I made an emoji out of that. I couldn't miss the opportunity. I made an emoji out of that. He dropped the egg.
Yeah. The fact that happened, that Ko brought that up to Teru, makes me think it's definitely going to come back in the future. And like, something's going to come of it.
Oh yeah, we still have the whole secret that he learned from the sus,
Yep.
Natsuhiko, about becoming a whole supernatural. Like why does Natsuhiko know that? But anyways, that's a whole other conversation. That's not for this. That didn't happen in this chapter.
Unfortunately.
I want to see them. I want to see Sakura and I want to see Natsuhiko so badly.
Anyways, let's just move forward. Teru talking about having potentially a real crush on Aoi, and that's always kind of been up in the air whether he actually has a crush on her or if he's just messing with Akane. Probably a bit of both.
I called it.
Yeah,
As soon as he said, I kind of like her, I'm like, yep, definitely, he likes her. Why? Because Teru is a shallow person, right? And he likes okay, let me not rant. I'm not going to rant. I'm sorry. I can't do this while it's recording.
You don't have to rant Teru right now.
I can't do this while it's recorded.
It's also interesting to note, apparently Teru has a dream that he requires Aoi for, and I don't know, that just struck me as being kind of ominous. I'm like, dude, what are you planning?
That can go so many places.
That's
Just
hilarious.
the fact that Aoi is an Akane. So, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
Like, that could be anything. It could be so bad.
Oh no. Okay, come on. Teru likes her. You wouldn't do that to her. Okay, so
I mean,
This is terrible.
most persons would have already caught on to this, but the whole severance thing and sacrificing of Akanes, those were pretty much ceremonies that they had in the past before the I was about to say 7 deadly sins, but the 7 mysteries, the whole 7 mystery school mysteries got organized, right, to do the whole protecting thing of the school. So that was happening. The ceremony is sacrificing Akanes to prevent the supernaturals from coming and terrorizing people. And the Minamotos were the head of that, so they have this whole history, and that's why Teru knew about the whole sacrificing of the Akanes and why he had to explain this to everyone. So
Here's a thought,
when
though. If the severance is what happens when you sacrifice someone into that pit, does that mean that the severance is what happened every single time they made that sacrifice?
I'm
which
wondering,
means- that's strange.
'Cause if that is what happens every single time, then obviously it's not permanent.
yeah, but
It's something
Hanako
that fades over
Hanako
time.
said that it's something it kind of implies. Hanako kind of implied that it was permanent because he said from now on, two worlds are
Yeah.
going to be separate.
So what would be the difference between what happened now and what happened before?
Well, maybe the supernaturals were just hella powerful back then. They were.
Yeah, true.
But
Maybe it's just Hanako, considering the fact that even if it does fade after a while, it's going to be after Yashiro is long gone from the school.
Oh yeah.
oh, yeah. So I
That
wouldn't
makes
even
sense.
see her. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Anyways, back to the chapter.
Yeah. So it's pretty much just
What were we at?
Teru.
We
Pret-
were at Akane, goading Teru into helping,
Oh yeah,
which
and
was pretty entertaining.
he said that he actually saw the kind of things that he was doing to Aoi, poor Aoi, in number six's boundary. That was so.
Oh gosh.
I knew he was watching them. The timing was just too perfect. I'm like, he probably peeked in, saw this happening, and just burst forward. Like, hey, what are
Feels
you up
pretty
to,
bad
guys?
for Teru, though.
I mean, it was kind of hot, but.
So basically, Teru gets goaded into helping, and then he pulls out his sword, he robs the temple of the thing that they need, and then they leave. So they have the thing that they need to jump into number two's boundary, I guess is what they're going to do. And let's remember, number two's boundary governs space, which means that once they get into number two's boundary, they should theoretically be able to get anywhere else.
Yeah, that's why. That's
Yep.
one of the reasons why I think they went after number two specifically, because it was kind of random. I would expect them to go, if anyone, they would go after number one's connection, because Akane was literally number one.
Though
But-
honestly, it was probably a case where they just didn't have leads on the other mysteries.
I guess.
that was an obvious lead.
Oh yeah, and he's like the oldest mystery, so yeah, we don't know anything about number one, to be honest. We don't even
Oh,
know.
super mysterious.
Yeah, we don't even know their boundary or Yorishiro.
I don't know where they're gonna go after that. I'm hoping, what I'm hoping will happen is that they'll get into number two's boundary, however they plan to do that, and then from number two's boundary they'll get to Hanako's boundary, because theoretically Hanako's boundary should be connected directly to the Red House. I don't know if they know that though.
I think they
Just
can go
I'm
in
kind of
any.
assuming things
It doesn't
will
have
go.
to go. They don't have to go into a
Oh, yeah.
boundary. They can just go straight to the Red House. I mean, it's space.
That's something I wanted to mention. That it seemed like Teru didn't know about the whole like story behind the Red House curse, more than he just knew that it was a thing in general.
Yeah.
Because like you know, he had to be told about it.
I still think Teru doesn't know that Tsukasa is a thing. He's
Yeah,
never
that's what
actually
seems like.
met him. I don't think he knows that that there's a Hanako and a Tsukasa. I think he just kind of assumes that it's the same person.
Yeah. So okay. So Teru. Pretty much the rest of the things that happen in the chapter. Teru. He decides to barge in and take out the what we believe is a connection to number two's boundary. He seems pretty confident about that. So next chapter we're probably going to go into number two's boundary, and then we're going to head over to the Red House, hopefully, if we
We'll
even
be at
stay.
Yashiro's point of view, and I have a case for this, guys, because it is chapter 80. And for those of you who don't know, the big number chapters tend to be related to their associated wonder. Like chapter, what was it? Chapter 30 was when we met the second Mitsuba. Chapter 40 was when we met Mei for the first time. Chapter 60 was when we met number 6 for the first time. And again, if you don't know, Yashiro's name does have the kanji for 8 in it. So if they're gonna make a big Yashiro chapter, it would be chapter 80.
Oh, I'm getting all excited now.
Yes, yeah, that's the same thing that happened.
Nothing is accidental in this manga, guys. Like, it takes some serious planning to make something like that
So
work.
maybe we'll see Yashiro
True.
at the end or something. I hope, to be honest. I just want this thing to go places. This
You miss
arc.
her.
Yeah, we do. She's so adorable and dumb. If we see
I'm
both
not ready
of them
for Hanako to come back, even though I really want to.
being ready.
Guys, the next chapter will be the last one in the volume that it gets released in.
Yeah,
Oh
so
yeah, so
exactly.
it has to be a
big one.
huge. Yeah, it has to be a huge. Oh.
Either it's gonna be a huge revelation or a huge cliffhanger, one or the other.
Also, the chapter is releasing on the 16th, which
Yep.
means it's coming 2 days early.
Wait, they don't.
That's usually a bad sign.
Exactly.
Chapter 71 came out early as well.
Yeah.
So that's just a note.
Usually chapters are always, it's like, it's scary. It's like, oh, we're gonna come early, and
And
then your
chapter
alarm
7
bells goes off, and it's like,
Yeah.
what are you planning,
Wait,
AidaIro? I'm scared.
wasn't chapter 71 the last chapter of that volume as well?
No, it's the first chapter of volume 15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think the volumes either end with a huge cliffhanger or a huge revelation, and I think chapter 70 was the huge cliffhanger that ended the last volume.
When he said
Yes.
that, it's going to get lonely.
Yeah.
It did.
All right, so we can move on now into the Q&A section. So we're all going to be watching the chat now as much as we can be, except for Kathy, who's going to be standing there waiting to see if people are waving their hands. If you want to talk, just raise your hand and ask your question, or if you want to type it, then type your question. We'll try to get to everyone as much as we can.
Also, I see you there, D3. That made a story. You mean, was it Dear My Living Dead? Hello? That person.
God.
I actually haven't read that as yet. I need to read that.
You still need to read Dear My Living Dead. If you
Definitely
haven't read
read it.
Dear My Living Dead, it's considered kind of a spiritual predecessor to TBHK. I don't think there's that much correlation between them other than the designs and a little bit in terms of the personalities, but anyways, that's really just my hope that there's going to be no correlation in terms of where the story went.
Yeah, because I
Oh, yeah.
can't. I pretty much heard the end about the ending, and I can't.
Yeah, not
I
not
don't
to
want
spoil
that.
anything.
I don't want that to happen.
It's pretty depressing, anyways.
Yeah, very much.
It's a one-shot, so it doesn't give you too much time to get super attached to the characters before they
Yeah.
pull it on you. But
That's why I feel like TBHK probably won't end like that, because we've had way too much time with these characters for it to end like that, I think.
I can hope.
I really hope so.
Always have. Does nobody have questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, are you guys sure about everything? Okay, so, oh, honey, I'm going to bring you up if you want to ask a question. And then maybe I'll consider bringing up D3. If anything, we can just crop this out at the recording. Okay, honey, you can
Scared me.
come. You can come. Yeah, so you can try to speak.
Everyone.
Hi, honey.
So my question is, do you think that Tsukasa really needs the permission of anybody before granting their wish?
I wouldn't say he needs permission, but it does require a price, which is why what happened with the priests was kind of weird, because it doesn't seem like anyone paid a price. My idea was potentially someone else made the wish for the priest's death, and that's the person who paid the price for it, and it just so happened that there were multiple people who wanted this guy dead.
Yeah, and also, in the house, I mean, he could have just granted. Okay, so the case with May, May had a wish, and that was to kill herself when she was alive, before she had the chance to think of a ideal self that would continuously draw, which is the May song that we see now. And Tsukasa pretty much just barged in and said, you know what, I'm going to grant your wish. She didn't get her permission or anything, but he spoke to her heart. So I'm guessing if it's something that you really want, then it will just be granted like that. It will just come true.
Guessing you just need to make the wish, right?
Even
Like,
if
as
it's in
long
your
as-
mind or whatever, because the host
Oh, God.
they can't read minds, so.
That's the thing with Ko. He hasn't made a definitive wish yet, which is why there's like the kid and the house are trying to push him in a direction where he will
He actually
some
said that.
sort of genuine wish.
He-
He just hasn't yet, so he's holding out. I have less hope for Yashiro, so I hope that they're not pulling the same thing on her.
Yeah, he actually. Yeah, so. Alright, I'm going to invite D3
It's your funeral.
Wait,
to
okay.
sweet note. D3, come on. If anything, we can just crop this out.
We
right?
need a little bit of comedy in here.
Right, D3.
Say what you want.
I have a very important question.
Yes,
So ever
D3.
since chapter 69, I've been wondering, why do you guys sound so hot?
Because I am hot.
Oh, that clears that up.
Well,
There you
yeah,
go.
I mean,
I answered your question.
straight
That's
up
the most
answer.
definitive
Even have
answer
to
we're
think
gonna
about
give.
that.
Thank you, D3. That was I learned so much from that question. It made me think of so much. I need to rethink my whole life story, to be honest.
You're
Come on, guys, let's all admit it. We are some hot people.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody in the chat, just say it out loud. I am a hot person. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate you playing along with me.
I'm fat. Oh no.
Everyone say it.
Okay.
Yes, Yui-chan, join the train.
Yes.
Okay, Yui. Okay.
C3's a girl now. We can confirm based on that very feminine voice that we
Yeah.
just heard.
Okay, you-chan, you had your hand up from the beginning of the podcast, so I don't know if you have a question, but I'm going to invite chapter 77, which is an odd name, but okay.
It does sound weird to say that out loud.
Yeah. I'm going to invite you to come and ask your question. Okay, there you go.
Okay, so hi.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in chapter 79, Aoyer, he gets a call, and whenever it's answered, it's Tsukasa, and he says, like, I can grant your wish.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was thinking, maybe that's why Hanako, like, I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, but maybe that's why Hanako and Tsukasa have, like, a power that, like, grants wishes.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we haven't touched on this.
Yeah, we
there
need
is
to-
an idea now that both Hanako and Tsukasa draw their power from the Red House. It would also kind of explain why Hanako is sealed, because it's a really vague connection, but in the manga, they very briefly mention in chapter 79 that the curse on the house is uncontrollable, it shouldn't be carelessly approached. That's what your grandma decided. And grandma is the person that sealed Hanako. So there could easily be a correlation there. It could be that Hanako's true powers also come from the Red House. And of course, it's been a running theory for a while that Tsukasa's powers are drawn from the Red House too.
But then we also have to think about it. Does Hanako really grant wishes in the same way that Tsukasa grants wishes? The only person we really see Hanako grant wishes for, which is sadly the only person we have reference to, is Nene, and he has really been going roundabout. It hasn't been snap of the fingers like Tsukasa, who has immense power.
Of course, Hanako is sealed, right?
Yeah.
So if they are drawing their power from the same place, then it makes sense that Hanako wouldn't be able to access that power. So he's got to do it all roundabout.
And then it has been implied that he was more powerful at one time, but that's the reason why when they were talking in number two's boundary, and Ko said, asked Yako, how did it feel
Yeah.
when you were out of control? When
Yeah.
she explained that I was myself, but it just felt like some part of me that I usually keep concealed just came out. Hanako stroked his seal there, which was a bit interesting, because it's the only reference we see him make to his seal. He's also said stuff like, if you have immense power, you won't be able to control it, back in like chapter 3 when he was fighting Ko. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of implied that there was...
Kathy.
Eh?
Can you get Miko back on? Her
Yeah.
Discord isn't working properly.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I'm looking out for that one.
I want to mention that Tsukasa, like, his wish grant abilities also don't work like the Red House either, exactly. Because he still has to work to grant them. He has to, like, actually do things, while the Red House, it kind of just appears for you.
Then again, he's kind of been just having
is
his
OP, though.
fun.
Yeah.
He's kind of just been having his fun. I'm sure that he grants wishes he says that he grants wishes for the dead, which I have a whole little theory about that, because I don't think that he has to exactly grant wishes for the dead.
Tsukasa
but
isn't known for following rules.
yeah, exactly. So he says that he grants wishes for the dead, and how he does this, he uses his radio, which I think has some kind of connection to the Red House. But anyways, to turn these people
Yui has a
into
question too, so you can invite her back on whenever you have a moment there.
yeah.
Also D3.
Yeah, so
Answer is 7, D3.
like I was saying, what was I saying? Oh my gosh. Come on, guys. You can't interrupt me when I'm talking. I will forget at the drop of a hat, but anyways. He grants wishes.
talking about?
He turns persons into supernaturals and give them a body so that they can wander the near shore. That's what's been happening with Mitsuma, but I forgot my point because D3 and Yu-chan.
You're like talking about him using the radio, which has connections to the Red House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know that the Red House can mess with radio signals, but that's like really scientific for a supernatural anime. But we know that he uses the rumors to change supernaturals. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, I'm going to put you down. Chapter 77, and I'm going to bring up Huno. Not D3.
Yui first.
Okay, I'm going to bring up Yui. So yeah. Is the hole connected to the fish?
Hello.
Yui.
Hi.
So here it is. You know how Amane actually regrets killing Tsukasa?
Mm-hmm.
He must have killed Tsukasa because he was scared for others and himself because he knew that wasn't Tsukasa. And when Tsukasa actually turned into supernatural, Amane actually like he thought he got rid of him, but he didn't. He like came back, and that's why Tsukasa is so,
Oh, that's a
kind of spiteful.
Yeah, I still
It's-
think it's really
well-
hard to know whether Amane knew or not, or whether he ever found out.
I don't.
If it could not
Regardless
have-
of whether
yeah.
he knew or not, it still makes perfect sense within Hanako's character for him to feel extremely guilty about it.
Because he did
Hanako
seem.
is a character who takes responsibility for a lot more things than he is technically responsible for. Like, he is a character who, if his brother was doing something he wasn't supposed to do, would feel like he himself is responsible for his brother misbehaving.
He also has a lot
That's who
of.
Hanako is.
He also has
yeah.
low self-esteem problems too, because the whole. Well, maybe I shouldn't even go that far, but we know that he was being abused by someone who is most likely Tsukasa, because Tsukasa, although he loves his brother, it's a very morbid form of love, and this Tsukasa isn't even the original. But anyways, yeah. So maybe that his abuser is actually Tsukasa, as most persons been thinking. And
Yeah,
he still chose to forgive that person. But I think what everyone's forgetting is the fact that before Hanako died, he said something about I'm not going anywhere. I decided not to go anywhere. And then he killed his brother after that. So
Yeah.
I still don't know what the hell that means.
I wonder if he made a wish.
Yeah. I wanted to say that I think that one of the reasons that maybe Hanako would be guilty about killing Tsukasa, even if he knew that he was an imposter, is if he found out very late. Because I mean, he's still been living with that imposter as his brother for like a really long time. So like, I mean, it would be hard to even let go of that.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
still
the
his
thing.
brother.
He's
Like,
still
it's
his
a
brother.
fake brother,
They
but it
seem
is
like
his
they were
brother.
having
Grew up
fun
with him.
while he looked really creepy. I'm going to move you back to the audience, Yuchan. But thank you for your
Thank you
question.
for having me.
Yeah. While he was while they were playing with the whole, I don't know, we saw Tsukasa looking all creepy like, and Hanako seemed like he was having fun, and Amane seemed like he was having fun. Completely oblivious to the creepy smile that Tsukasa is giving his mother.
Clearly, the little Amane was not aware that his brother was not his brother.
Yeah.
So we have no way of knowing if he found out or when that happened.
Yeah, but if he killed him for... We were saying pretty much the stance that we had before was that if he killed his brother and he knew that he was the imposter, then he wouldn't feel all that guilty. But then again, we have to take into consideration that you're killing a whole human being, crazy or not. And I can see that how that can mess with someone's psyche.
That's fair. Alright, did anyone else have questions? I know D3 was talking about asking a question again.
Listen, Amy, I don't want to give you so much work cropping out so many stuff, but I'll invite D3 again. Wait, someone has a
Okay.
question? Okay. I'll invite D3 again.
I know you guys don't want me in here. I can see that. But everyone in the audience has been wondering, why is there no male representative in this podcast?
Because we're extremely sexist.
Because 90% of the TBHK fandom is female.
That too.
I think you guys need one male representative in here. It should be
We
me.
did. Thank you for representing
Yes,
the male
thank you.
populace of the TBHK fandom. We appreciate you, D3.
I hope that they see you as a good representative of them.
Except
Of representation.
I'm pretty sure you claimed earlier that you were a girl, so are you really representing the male audience?
Yeah.
I'm representing the trans.
Okay.
and bisexual.
Wandering dangerous territory there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone put him back in the audience.
I'm going to put you back to the audience.
Alright, so last little segment, we're finally reaching this. Predictions for the next chapter. I am predicting that it's going to be a Yashiro chapter.
Same here.
Maybe a continuation of... but I think it will be Akane and Teru, and then maybe a whole cliffhanger with Yashiro. Or maybe...
like a split perspective chapter where half of it is with one
No,
and
maybe they meet up.
end on another.
Maybe they meet up.
Might meet up. You know what would be absolutely god tier levels of awesome? It would be if right at the end of the chapter, Yashiro comes across Hanako.
That's
Which
exactly what I was
isn't gonna
thinking.
happen, but it would be fantastic.
That's my dream, chapter 80. Actually, like having a Hanako cliffhanger at the end would be amazing.
I would love a Hanako cliffhanger. I wouldn't even be mad about it. It would just make me so
It'd be such
happy.
a great cliffhanger for the volume too. Like it's so good, but I know it's not gonna happen.
Ah.
I mean, we can
Everybody
dream.
message AidaIro, say we're requesting this, as if they don't
Please.
already have this entire story plotted out. They do.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad that we're not dealing with Koi anymore. I'm
I
tired.
love Ko. I just want to make that clear. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was time to hang out with someone else for a little while.
Yeah, and they want to keep the Red House all sussy, so I guess we'll just keep
This
it
is
back.
really Tsukasa's backstory. That's what this arc is. This is about Tsukasa, where he came from and what he is.
Yeah, it's not even about
Yeah.
Amane. Let's not think about it. He's just
Yeah.
about Amane by extension, which is, we're kind of interested in Amane and Hanako's past. It kind of share the
Just
same
kinda.
past.
He's only the titular character.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense that they're revealing Tsukasa's past first, since Hanako's past is like the big mystery.
Yeah.
True. It's we've basically gotten a part 1 and part 2 of this story, which is, Tsukasa sacrificing himself, and then the second part of Tsukasa being replaced by a double. Part 3 is Amane killing his brother. And I want to see part 3 of this story. How about you guys?
Yeah.
Oh
definitely.
yeah, definitely.
Probably won't get it for a long time. though.
Chapter
Oh, how
80.
long have we been waiting?
Chapter 80, Tsukasa growing old, Amane killing him, that's all revealed. Hanako seeing Yashiro all at once, all that needs to happen at once. We just throw like a
All in the
party
same
at all in the same
Yeah.
time.
We all have hopes.
We all want.
Oh,
Chapter's
I'm
going
surprised
after
no
me,
one. I'm surprised no one mentioned
hate
the
that.
whole what is it, Teru Kane dynamic?
Yeah. Take on it, yeah.
Like the ship?
Yes.
The ship, yeah.
I mean,
The ship was. Yeah, the ship was kind of fed this chapter.
NA is still my OTP for this, and as long as I
Yeah,
have that, I'm
forever.
happy.
I
Don't
mean,
ship anyone else.
I mean, if they just got together, if Akane and Teru decided, you know what, oh, we can't wait. Let's just
Exactly.
this whole thing would be solved. Yeah, she can just die. It's about let's just have some romance here real quick.
I did like
save
their
it for the
moment.
fan fictions.
I did definitely like their moment in the chapter where Akane was like, you know, I'll tell her that you were useless and stuff, and then he's like, that I wouldn't appreciate that.
Yeah, that
That was good.
that
That
face,
was fantastic.
that was a sweet Teru face.
Yeah.
All right. Oh my gosh.
Nah, his sister kind of sus with him.
No, it's the sister. It's all the sister.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
Terror doesn't do anything. Don't put anything on him.
Oh,
It's
no.
just Yara not understanding what marriage is.
Let's please not make it this kind of show.
Yeah. Just enough animes that are already like that.
Oh,
So-
there's too many anime.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Anime needs to be stopped. Anime needs to be stopped. That is so weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, we've basically reached the end of everything to talk about there. I'm sure we're still going to go on and on and on about this. Everybody, remember, it's an early release next month, so 16th at 12 a.m. Japanese time. In my part of the world, that's kind of early in the morning. That's like 11 a.m.
Mhm.
On the
10 a.m. for me.
15th.
Best believe I am going to be awake.
Right.
I am
Oh,
going
yeah,
to.
11 a.m.
I was driving while I was actually reading the comments for the chat.
Are you admitting that you were texting and
Oh my
driving?
gosh. Oh. How
I
dare
was
All right. On that note, I think we can say goodnight. Everybody, don't text and drive, okay?
Yeah, that's the lesson of today's
Don't be like me,
podcast.
guys. Don't be like me.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't be like Random Monaco ever.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Yep,
Bye bye, guys.